the first inner struggle was just me. There's been times when I just feel like I'm not good enough, or this is not good enough, or this is not working. And that's when I have my support team that, consistently cheer me on. And then with all the changes with Instagram and the algorithm, you're like, oh my gosh, back to square one. So all those struggles, they just made me better because I realized that I have to work harder. And now I'm plugging into YouTube.
On today's episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat, we talked to Alecia from VivaKolor. She's a micro-influencer who discusses how to navigate getting more brand deals. Let's dive right in. Well, Alecia, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat. I'm excited for this because what you do, or what I've seen on the website, is what a lot of people want to do, and it seems like you do a lot of traveling and document that travel, and interested to see how you kind of maybe monetize it as well. But before I kind of get too deep into that, I would love to hear just from you, who are you, what's your past, and what is it that you do?
Hi, Dustin. So I'm Alecia, and currently I'm a blogger, influencer. I started roughly maybe 6 years ago, as I remember. It started as a hobby. Initially, I was doing nails. I was a nail blogger, and I went back to school, and it became too much to try to create content with my nails at least 5 days a week. So I kind of transitioned into fashion because that's also my passion, because that was much easier. And now I am just doing my fashion blog.
No, that's awesome. I like it because we're huge on just content and creating content. There's so much positive that can come from it, so many opportunities that can bring individuals and businesses. What got you into creating content? What got you into starting blogs? And you were definitely an early adopter. So how did you see the value in creating content and what that could do?
Actually, I didn't. I have a past. I have a background in education as a teacher / school counselor. And it was, I think, the last day of school in June, a company reached out to me. And do you want to know the name of the company?
Yes.
Okay, Volition Beauty. They reached out to me for beauty and skincare to send me some products. And I've never done that before. And I said, okay, this might be a good idea. I didn't trust them at first because they reached out to me in my DM on Instagram. And 5 years ago, that was very weird to reach out to someone in their messenger. So I decided to take a risk. And I started to promote products on my page. And then that's how it transformed into me reaching out to companies. And I just started to get noticed by other brands. And I just started to consistently continue to work my blog and my passion.
Awesome. And with that, how did that first interaction happen? How did they find you? Is it because of the blogs that you're doing, they're getting picked up organically, and people were finding them on Google when they were searching for nail tips or whatever it may be? Or how did they end up finding you?
Well, I was already posting beauty and skincare and fashion products, and I would use hashtags. So I guess whatever hashtags I was using, they found me on the Instagram popular page. And that's how they started to reach out to me, because I didn't know of them. And they were a new company also. So we both were emerging. And I thought it was really a cool idea to work with them, and they work with me, and we just grow together.
That's really cool. And since that first one, it was probably really cool to get some free product. And I'm sure that the wheels started turning, going, hey, how can I get more product and whatnot? What has the evolution been of that? What kinds of products have you received? And has it since turned into, rather than product, actual money or finances from there?
Yes. So at first I was taking a lot of free products when I just started out. And then I started to get too much products. So at times I would stop taking a lot of products from companies unless I was getting paid. So eventually, I started to go to a lot of networking events, and that's how I started to build my brand. I started to reach out to companies. I was going to a lot of events that taught me how to skillfully send out emails to contact brands and PR agents so that I would get paid. So a lot of the collaborations I do are paid because that's the whole point. It's important to get paid eventually. So I don't really take a lot of products anymore unless I'm working with a company, and they offer me the product plus payment, because it can get a little bit too much to have a lot of products in your house.
Yeah, no, definitely. I could see that's it's definitely a good problem to have. And as you get that, I mean, obviously the value that you're bringing increases, and then you can turn that value into, like I said, a monetary value to where you're actually getting paid for it. And I think that's everyone's dream. I mean, as a personal blogger, all that type of stuff. I think that's what a lot of people aspire to do, is just do what they love, create content around it, get paid or get free product. And so, I mean, those people or businesses that are really trying to increase, their visibility and what they're trying to do through their content. I mean, what's one biggest piece of advice that you'd have for them as someone is trying to create content for themselves?
For the companies or for a blogger?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's so I guess to back up, I mean, a lot of companies and how we position it as is being thought leaders and giving your expertise or advice, and then that'll get found and that can turn into a client. And that's really how the monetization comes. But I guess anyone that's trying to get their blog up, I mean, what are some tips that you have for them as they're kind of ideating and trying to figure it out?
Okay, the first thing is to keep consistency. Create organic content, but have a schedule. For example, I do my photo shoots every Sunday. Every Tuesday, I send out emails to companies, and Wednesdays, I edit my YouTube videos, which I just started my YouTube page. So you need a consistent schedule so that it's a reminder that this is what I'm doing, and it shows that you're serious. Another thing I would say is to not give up, because there will be days when you're going to feel frustrated. You're not going to get any email responses back from companies, and you're going to feel like giving up. So I would tell anyone, just keep sending out emails. If you send out 1,000 emails and you get back one, that's awesome. So just keep putting out the work and stay positive and surround yourself with people who are like-minded and doing the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to sales, it's tough and it's super easy to get defeated. And really, I mean, that's a huge mental part of things. And that's really where a lot of, businesses struggle to really see tons of growth. Is it's easy to get a bunch of no's and not move forward. And I mean, you kind of mentioned surround yourself with like-minded people. I mean, how did you kind of get through that? I mean, did you have a network of people to help, or how did you kind of get through 1,000 no's in a row and to continue to keep pushing forward?
Right. Dustin, I signed up with a PR company called the PR Net. And this happened maybe 2 years ago in December, when I felt like I needed to push my blog to another level. And the PR Net, they host a lot of networking events where maybe 100 people come together and we all talk, we network. It's mainly a room full of brands. I'm probably the only blogger in the room, which is great. But I had to reach out to that company so that every month I had a network of people who kept me motivated. Yeah, so I feel like people should reach out to like a networking strategist or a company just to keep you grounded, or have a support team.
No, I love that. It's actually come up quite a bit on quite a few recent podcasts, whether it's networking, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, having a mentor, a coach, someone to help you keep you accountable. Because as mentioned, if you're by yourself, it's easy to get down and kind of push things off. But if you have some form of that accountability or whatever it may be, it kind of there to lift you up and get you over that hump. And once you get over it, it feels so much, the reward feels really good and just keeps you going.
Yeah, it felt really good when I signed up. And it's lifetime. I didn't even know that they were lifetime until maybe like 3 events that I'm going to be a part of this company forever.
Really?
Yeah, it's really inspiring people in a room.
That's awesome. What else is the PR side of things done for you? Because we don't dive too much into PR and what our agency does, but I mean, it's a huge piece of the marketing. So outside of creating the networking groups, what else has the PR company helped you with?
Well, the PR companies, they help you with the email contacts for brands, which is a plus. They help you come together, like I said, to just have that support team. And they also help with generating information that you might need. For example, throughout the whole quarantine, and I haven't been back to an event since February because of the whole COVID. The owner, Lisa, she consistently sends out the Zoom meetings. So we're still being informed, and we know what's going on in the PR, with the PR and the brands. She does a lot of digital marketing. For example, sometimes I would go to events and there's a panel of speakers from different companies who you want to talk to, and they're giving you information about what's going on with marketing, with experiential marketing and everything that you need to know.
That's really cool. One thing that you mentioned is just the influencer side of things. And I think that's a huge growing trend. It is a huge growing trend and more people want to be influencers. And I think brands are seeing the benefit of having kind of that organic push of their brand rather than it being an ad. It comes from someone that other people might follow. How has that kind of industry evolved as you were kind of an early person in that, the whole industry?
Well, 5 years ago, brands mainly looked at your website for blogging. Now it's just Instagram. So, I still love having a website. I think it's important to have a website because Instagram is always changing and you don't know when Instagram is just not going to be Instagram anymore. Mm-hmm. So I think a website is a great backup plan. But I see a lot of influencers, micro influencers like myself, they get brand deals at like 1,000 followers. I think it's becoming easier, even though the algorithm is making things a little bit more challenging. But I think with the algorithm being more challenging on Instagram for influencers, it pushes you to work harder. But in my opinion, I do think it's a lot easier for influencers to try to dive into the influencing marketing and just grow.
Yeah, I know one thing that comes up that's a struggle for a lot of brands is just the fake followers, the fake engagement and all that type of stuff. I mean, if someone asks how you navigate that or why you're different than other influencers kind of in your space, I guess what are your kind of your thoughts in regards to that?
Yeah, there is a lot of fake organic growth. And it does bother me. It does bother me because a company might choose to work with someone who has bought followers instead of working with me who's over here busting her butt. And that does make me feel bad sometimes, But what I would say to companies is I would show the different platforms that I'm on. I would show my website. I would delve into many different things that I'm a part of. I would show the content that I'm creating. I would talk about ways that I can support the brand. I would just sell myself basically.
Yeah. No, that's huge. And it sounds like you kind of use data to really help show that is how many, this is where I'm at. This is how many people are following. I mean, going into the fake followers, I think people get so hung up on that because it's a vanity metric. And the only reason why someone wants to use an influencer is because they're going to push that brand and sales will come in. But if it's all fake followers and non-real engagement, they're not going to have any sales. That being said, are there any pieces of advice that you would have for a brand as they're trying to identify what type of influencer to go after, what to really look for to decide whether I should go with this influencer or that? Because to me, I'd rather connect with someone that has 200 followers, but all 200 of those people are active and ready to buy, rather than someone that has 10,000 followers and they only get 3-4 likes on each of their posts and no one buys, because I know that the ROI from what I'm investing is going to be that much greater. So do you have any piece of advice on how brands could navigate or what questions they should ask influencers when deciding on who to move forward with?
Yeah, I think, like you said before, the brand should ask for data and analytics, the metrics, to see if this is going to work for their company, and also to look at the content that is being created. It's not easy to create content, to try and to look at when influencers are creating content. Is it consistent? Is it over time? Just those pieces of information, and basically just look at the analytics. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
I love hearing that. I'm a huge analytics and data nerd, and that's all we try and do is just ROI focused and really showing the value of you're making this much based off of what you invested. So, I mean, how much has analytics played a role in your growth, and how have you kind of educated yourself on growing your knowledge base when it comes to what to look at, what to present to show that, hey, these numbers mean that I can bring you value? Has that played a big role in kind of your growth?
Yes, I realize that I've been showing case studies. Whenever I reach out to a company in an email, I always talk about how I can support the brand. And then, for example, if I'm trying to work with American Eagle, if I'm trying to work with American Eagle, and I've worked with Levi's jeans before, I can show American Eagle the analytics and the case studies based on people buying the jeans because I promoted it on the website. So again, with the numbers, you have to be able to show case studies to show the brand that, okay, I promoted this product and this is what happened based on the promotion. 10 people bought the product. And I think if you're not able to show that, then it becomes zero value for you. So that's very important, to build a relationship with your audience, so that if you are promoting something for a company, the audience is able to believe in you and want to trust in you, so that they can say, okay, let me try this product.
Yeah, no, like you said, the numbers and the data don't lie. And I mean, how has it been since you started presenting these case studies? I mean, was that once you started sending those, and do you send them like on the first email? Because I mean, that's something that we're currently working on, is building out our case studies. And because as you mentioned, it's one thing to say it can do all this, I have all these followers, it's all theoretical. But once you can put, here was a pain point that someone had, this is what we did, and here's what the numbers were and how we drove some value and some business for that brand. Typically you get a lot more buy-in and you get a lot more responses. You get a lot more people that are willing to take a conversation with you. So at what point did you start incorporating these case studies, and how much has it impacted the business since you started incorporating them?
Well, I started incorporating once I started going to my PRNet events. Yeah. Right. That's why it's good to go to those events, before pre-COVID. I realized how important it was to show numbers, because anybody can say that they can do this or that, but numbers really add value to your brand. And I always ask the company, if this is something that you're interested in, can I send over my media kit, or can I send you some data? I never send it initially first, because I don't want to bombard them, because they don't know me. And I try not to ask for things in the first email. I try to build a relationship, because you're talking to a stranger. They don't know me and I don't know them. So I like to build relationships with people first. And then from the relationships, then, I try to work with the brand.
Yep. No, I can agree more. I mean, you're absolutely doing it correct. I mean, it's I mean, just helping people run ads and seeing what people are running. It's all too often it's don't even introduce yourself as a brand. It's always got a sale or buy this, and it's like, well, you haven't even introduced yourself and who you are and what value you bring. And so no, that's huge. As you've been kind of growing your brand and kind of, I mean, it looks like you're doing a little bit more travel, beauty, you're kind of expanding on what you're blogging about. I mean, through this evolution, what was one of the biggest struggles that you've kind of faced and how did you overcome it?
Oh man, the biggest struggle. Well, the first inner struggle was just me. There's been times when I just feel like I'm not good enough, or this is not good enough, or this is not working. And that's when I have my support team that, consistently cheer me on. And then with all the changes with Instagram and the algorithm, you're like, oh my gosh, back to square one. So all those struggles, they just made me better because I realized that I have to work harder, and now I'm plugging into YouTube. So I have to make sure that I plug into all of the platforms that I'm comfortable with for that growth, because you're not just going to grow on Instagram. I mean, maybe the 1%, but it's going to be very hard right now. So you want to plug into a variety of platforms. So that's just my major struggle when the algorithm changes, or if it's mental in my head, or, those things, personal struggles.
And were you always on multiple platforms? Or, I mean, it sounds like there was an algorithm update and you definitely felt the impact of your overall reach and whatnot. Were you always on multiple platforms at that time? Or was it kind of oh, wow, I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. And that's what kind of sparked the evolution of the different platforms that you're kind of creating content for?
Well, I was always on YouTube, but I never used it. I use it sporadically, but now I'm doing it consistently because I realize, again, with me building my Instagram, consistency equals results. So, I'm on TikTok, Facebook. So I always had different platforms, but now I'm just utilizing them better. And because I have more time with, everything that's going on.
Yep.
So why not use it?
Absolutely. That's maybe one of the few positives that have come out in this is everyone's had a little bit extra time and can all those things that I said I didn't have time for, you now have time for. And so time is always good. And it sounds like you've been doing a lot of testing. I love the YouTube side of things. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of YouTube. It's the second largest search engine in the world. And I mean, there's so many people searching on it. I mean, how have you grown on YouTube? I mean, what have the results been, or is this kind of early on in getting more consistent on the platform?
Yeah, it's still early on and becoming more consistent on the platform. But I do realize when you're new to the platform, you have to make sure that your content is of value. You have to be solving a problem, because if you're not solving a problem, you're not going to reach people who are searching for something on YouTube. So that I already know. So I try to create my content like how-tos or telling people, giving valuable information that helps someone. And so I'm going to do that in the beginning. And then eventually when my audience decides to start to trust me, then I can try different options.
Mm-hmm. And what type of content are you doing on YouTube? I mean, is it in line with what you're blogging, or is it two separate things, or are you amplifying your blogs by, maybe recording something around what that blog is, or how are you incorporating YouTube into everything else, or is it kind of a standalone thing?
Well, my YouTube is about fashion, beauty, DIYs, and hacks and travel. I'm very big on hacks.
Everyone is.
I love DIY. I love doing things with my hands. So I thought to myself, YouTube, that's the best place to do these things. So I try to do videos in all of those components and just put them on the platform. And I'm just going to go based on the data again. Whatever I see people like the most, I'll start to do more of that.
Anything that you're seeing early on, any little tidbits or aha moments that you've had so far?
I noticed that a lot of people like my travel. And I'm like, ouch, because right now it's hard to, to safely travel. So I'm just, hopefully wishing, and I'm just going to be consistent, do the work. I'm not going to look at the numbers. I'm just going to post at least 3 times a week. I'm aiming for, and I'll see where it goes with YouTube.
No, love it. I think, consistency is the key there. And I think you're going to find some really awesome results on YouTube. Like I said, it's just big. I mean, there's so many people searching, and I think to your point, if you're bringing great content, you're helping solve a problem, I think you'll get found. And as you start, getting more views, more subscribers, you'll be able to kind of evolve and do different things. And from there, just continue to build, kind of like what it sounds like you've done on Instagram.
Right. Yeah. And it's really fun. Just have fun with it. You do what you love, but have fun with it.
That's the key to everything. If you're not having fun doing it, you're probably doing the wrong thing or going about it the wrong way or whatever it may be. And so it's awesome to hear. I mean, you've mentioned passionate, fun, multiple times already. And it's ultimately that's what everyone needs to be doing, is figure out what you love doing on a daily basis, and then figure out, how you could keep doing that to monetize your time and effort. And ultimately you can make money doing something you love. And that is true happiness right there.
Right. Absolutely.
So how has TikTok been? I think it's very controversial. I mean, they were about to get banned from the US. It's now, I think they're back. And I mean, it's insane. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people, a couple of videos and then you got 50,000 views plus. I mean, how is that playing out for you?
It's easy to go viral on TikTok. It's very silly. I noticed that it's very immature, but it's fun. It kept a lot of people going throughout quarantine. And I think that's when a lot of people joined TikTok, like myself. It's fun. You can grow on TikTok. It's easy to grow actually on TikTok, but I don't know if it's going to be here to stay.
What do you think it is or not? I mean, what are your thoughts? Is it something that people should maybe be investing more time into, or do you think it's more of gonna come and go?
I think it's gonna come and go. Yeah, I don't think it's a long-term investment like Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. I think you're better off being on YouTube.
I couldn't agree more. I think there's so much opportunity on YouTube. There's and from that, just the people that watch you, there's so much that you can do to re-engage with them after the fact and whatnot. But I love it. We're all about testing and trying to not do too much and be too aggressive, but always be testing and seeing if there is opportunity in other channels, platforms. What you're saying. And so it's awesome to hear that you're doing all those things.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're working on quite a bit between YouTube and TikTok, other channels. And it sounds like you're doing, more types of categories in terms of content that you're producing. What are some of your, short-term goals here in the next 3 to 6 months? What are the biggest things that you're working on, and what does that look like?
Okay. So for the next 3 to 6 months, I want to grow my YouTube to 1,000 subscribers. So that's a short-term goal for me right now. From 3 to 6 months, 1,000 subscribers.
And it's tough. With coronavirus that just happened, it's all these long-term goals. It's you're on the path to try and accomplish them, and something can happen, and everything changes in the matter of a couple days or even a week.
Right, because I had a goal to invest in property, somewhere else, and that all changed because of coronavirus. So I had to try to revamp everything. So everything changed. So now I'm just not sure I'm on long-term goals, but I know my short-term goals is 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and just to develop more relationship with my audience, And sometimes I just hate saying the word followers or that, because I feel like we're all the same.
Uh-huh.
We're all the same. I don't want to call out anyone my followers or this and that. It's very odd to me.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think Facebook has it perfect where, I mean, everyone are friends. I think that's the best way to put it.
Friend, right, my friend. You know what? I'm gonna start saying that. Hey, friends, my friend.
There you go. I mean, you've mentioned a couple big brands. I mean, I don't know if you've worked with Levi's and American Apparel and all that. I mean, are there any big brands, or what would be the most exciting thing to work on for you in terms of collaboration?
Well, I worked with City Bike over the summer, and I was ecstatic because I posted a picture. I was riding a City Bike, and I posted a picture, and City Bike commented on my picture. And I took a chance. I emailed them. And that's how I got to work with City Bike and Health First on a partnership. And I loved it. That was my biggest collaboration with City Bike, because I don't know if you know, City Bike is a bike share program that's all over New York City. You know, you could rent a bike for 30 minutes just to get to where you need to go in the city. So it was huge for me. And I was excited working with them.
That's awesome. Is it the one where you basically have an app, and once you get by it, you can scan it? Okay.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. I just found it amazing how, because I just posted that picture and I tagged City Bike, they responded and commented on my picture, and I reached out to them, and that's how it happened. You know, it just seems so simple, but sometimes it can be a little challenging, but it's, you know what I realized? I realized that sometimes things are easier than what we think. We make it hard by overthinking and thinking too much. It's actually not that hard.
No, I mean, whenever you look in hindsight and going through it, I mean, I agree. I mean, I do it to myself all the time. It's like, once I have a big win or accomplishment, I look back and go, man, 98% of the struggle was just me overthinking and doing it, where it's all you got to do is, if they engage, simply ask. Or, I mean, it's amazing how much we get in our own heads. I mean, imposter syndrome, just overthinking process. And sometimes it's just as simple as just asking, or a simple question.
Right.
And how do you kind of overcome some of those, overthinking and whatnot? Does it go back to the PR virtual events and the group?
Yeah, the PR events, meditation, going to the gym, and a lot of reading. Yeah, I've been reading a lot now on my laptop because I need to. And to de-stress, sometimes just put your phone down and not go on social media is a nice way to try to bring yourself back, you know. A lot of reading.
No, I love it. And as we kind of wrap up here, I mean, in terms of, a lot of people want to do what you're doing, and that's, getting paid or getting free stuff to simply just, write about content and share other brands and whatnot. And for those that are just now getting into it, that might think it's oversaturated and whatnot, I mean, what's the biggest piece of advice that you'd have for someone that is just now getting into it and trying to navigate becoming either an influencer or a blogger?
Okay. And I also want to go back to that question, Dustin, about, and I have another goal that I forgot to mention. And I think I would say that this is a short-term goal. I'm also going to be writing an ebook, but I haven't decided on the topic that I want to discuss yet. I'm going to pitch it to my friends and see. I'm going to do a poll with the audience and see what the need is. And then I'll write the ebook based on that. But
that is awesome.
To answer your question, I would tell anyone, go for it. And, be very bold, because you can be very consistent, but if you're shy, you might not be able to work with what you have. People might not be able to see your true talent because your shyness might hide it a little. And I'm not saying that because you're shy, you can't be seen. But when you're on social media and there's so many people doing the things that you would like to do, you have to stand out a bit. And I would say try to create content that is unusual. Don't do what everyone else is doing. That's what I would tell someone. Just be you and do whatever you want to do. Don't feel that you have to fit in to the social norms of what you see, because you never know. You might create those norms and you just stand out. So that's what I would tell people. Just be you, be consistent, be persistent, and have fun. Have fun doing the things that you love, because life is short.
I love it, because I think too many people get stuck in the, well, should I do it about this or that? I mean, what's making more money? What's doing this? And at the end of the day, like we kind of discussed, it's what makes you happy. That's what's going to be the easiest. That's easiest to create content around. And then I just did want to confirm on the shyness. Is that shyness in just getting in front of a camera or creating content, or is that trying to reach out and create these relationships, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. If you need help with getting in front of a camera, I would say to like join a group or get help somewhere. But if you want to grow on social media, these things you have to do these things. Get in front of a camera, create more content. You have to step outside the box.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. To stand out, you got to step outside the box. In order to do that, you just got to be uncomfortable, or you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right, exactly. Kind of like with traveling. You got to be not comfortable.
Exactly. So, Alecia, I mean, this has been great. Is there anything that maybe we didn't touch on, or any last parting words before kind of let you get back to your day?
No, I was just, I was very nervous about people being sad with the holidays and everything on my social media audience. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm creating a lot of content based on the holidays, because I like to try to drive my audience into like a happy mode. Mm-hmm. So, because I have a personal relationship with a lot of people on my page, and I know a lot of them, had losses. So I try to create a lot of content to put them in a better mood, so hopefully things get better, and I like to see people happy, so.
Yep. Things will get better, and the happiness will be in abundance. And I love what you're trying to do and spreading that happiness. And, for those people that are listening that, need a little bit more happiness in their life, I would suggest that they go follow you. And how can they find you between YouTube and Instagram and even TikTok?
Yes. On every social media handle, I'm VivaKolor, VivaKolor. And my website is www.vivakolor.me.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the time, and I look forward to kind of seeing you get into that 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, and be watching you as you continue to grow and create content.
Thank you so much for this podcast, my first podcast. I'm excited.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.